on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. Welcome. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm out. Welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. I'm out. 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 I'm out. Who you with, Kirk, dog? Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, dog. I'm M. Who you with, Kirk, dog? Want to welcome everyone to the show tonight. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter. D Live is in the house. Man, I've been talking about this for a while. Tonight she is here. Miss Kincaid is here, and it couldn't be a better time to have her on the show. Tonight's subject is dealing with the loss of a loved one. As y'all know, a week ago, my family and I lost my mother. Miss Kincaid is here to help us out. And not only us, but also other people that are dealing with the loss of a loved one during this time. Welcome to the show, Sheila Cadell Denise. I see you listening in on Facebook. Y'all can live chat with us, and you can also call in 972-591-3665, 972-591-3665. Welcome to the show, Miss Kincaid. Thank you for coming back.
Hey, Curtis. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
How about you?
I'm great. Condolences to you and your family and the loss of your mom.
I appreciate it. I know we talked last month to start setting this up, and when I reached out to you, I had no idea we would be doing this, and it's painful. It's painful.
Grief equal pain.
Yes, and I appreciate you for coming on to minister to me. I have a lot of friends, and even you reached out when I sent you the text. Which my wife sent you the text, and you reached out, and I was it's a struggle. I'm not gonna lie, it's a struggle. Even when I get on here and talk and still bring the things that need to be talked about. Yeah, I get on here and do it. I may have a smile on my face, but I'm struggling.
Yeah,
I'm struggling. So, and I know I'm not the only one. Stormy Night, I seen your post today. I'm praying for you.
Amen.
I'm praying for you. Go ahead, Miss Kincaid. I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't saying. I said amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
What are some things that people can do that is dealing with grief, especially the loss of a parent?
One of the major things is you got to allow yourself to grieve. You know, so many times people try to get busy so they don't grieve, you know, so they won't cry, so they won't think about it. And when initially when your loved one passes away, there's a lot of things that sometimes that you have to do. You have to arrange to make funeral arrangements. You got to do get family together. Do so much, and so you're really going on adrenaline. But after a week or two, things are going to settle down, and you're going to start really feeling that pain. You feel the pain then, but you're going to really feel the impact of that pain. And one of the things to do is to lean into that grief, because I always tell people, if you don't grieve now, you'll grieve later. And a lot of times later, unfortunately, comes out in negative behaviors.
Yes. Like I said, you can actually call in to the show 972-591-3665. You can talk with Miss Kincaid and get some help. That's what the counselor come on here for, to get some help.
Yeah.
And I've had those. Last night, yesterday, I told y'all I woke up at 2:30 yesterday morning, and I didn't go to sleep till after 12, and couldn't get back to sleep. I prayed. I did everything to try to go to sleep and couldn't go. I got up at 6 something yesterday morning and started cooking dinner for last night.
Yeah.
So it's a struggle.
It
We actually have a call coming in.
Okay.
Just a minute. Hold on. Let me put it on speaker real quick so we can hear.
Okay.
Speak on it. Welcome to the show.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I had to get this call in early, Curtis, and because I had been waiting to talk to this lady. And Miss Kincaid, thank you so much for taking this time. I'm Curtis's oldest cousin.
Okay.
And so, yeah, the loss of his mom was like me losing one of my best friends, because we're kind of close in age. But I have an issue right now, and I'm trying my best to deal with it. 13 years ago, on August the 21st, I lost my husband. I buried him on August the 28th. On August the 29th, I lost my brother. Going into November, I lost my sister-in-law of 23 years.
Wow.
The following year, I lost one of my best friends that I've had since 14. And that same year, I lost my dad and my granny, his mom, 10 minutes apart in the same day.
Wow.
Now, most recent, my family has been through. We lost an uncle in November that I was extremely close to as well. My problem is I haven't grieved anything. I still have my husband's ashes in the top of my closet, and I used to carry them around in my car. But my life right now, I've lost my job. I know the steps of grieving. I know. I have a degree in dealing with dual illnesses. Substance abuse and mental illness. I know the steps, but I prepare myself at night just in case I don't wake up the next morning. If I take an aspirin or a pain pill or something, or even a diabetic, whatever medication I take, I leave it out on the bed so they'll know what I took. I can't get to that place. I don't know, and I also feel like because these deaths came so quick, that I feel this way. I'm not saying it's true, but I feel like that I'm blamed, especially for my brother's death, because it was so close to my husband. I mean, he was all the way in Lubbock when it happened, but I just feel like because it happened so close that, like, I started something, and I don't know really what to do. And I'm talking to you because you're an outside person, and Curtis and I have gotten so close over the last few months. But I don't know where to start. If I was talking and telling somebody else what somebody was telling me this, I would know how to help them, but I can't help myself.
Right. I'm so sorry for your losses, and that it is hard, especially back to back like that. Just really sorry for those losses, because you never, grief. The pain is not as severe most of the time. Over time, it lessens, but you still grieve. My mom has been gone last Friday 13 years, but that day, me and my nephew was talking. I said, Mama is gone. She passed away on this day, and we were quiet for probably like 2 minutes, just on the phone, just the impact of it. And it's been 13 years. I don't agree, the pain is not as severe as it was 13 years ago, but there still is some pain. But as I said earlier, you have to really learn how to lean into that grief. And when you're leaning into that grief, the stages of grief, the acceptance, most people don't really go in that order or do anything like that. Everybody's grief is personal. So one thing I always tell journal. That's a outlet to the journal. I always tell people to write a grief letter to your loved one, letting them know the pain that you feel with it, and why do you miss them, what's actually going on with them. And now that most of my clients, they have a difficult time doing that, because it's so personal, but it's cleansing. It really is. I also recommend a support group. I was telling Curtis earlier, I go to Cornerstone Baptist Church in Arlington, and we have a program called Grief Share. Grief Share is an international program. Right now, we're doing ours via Zoom, so anybody from anywhere can join. That's a great support group. It shows you a video at the beginning, and then afterwards we have a group discussion, and you're able to discuss what's on your heart, discuss what's happened on the video, and it kind of gives you guidance and letting you know that a lot of the feelings that you have are normal. Because a lot of times we go, this is too much. I shouldn't be feeling like this. I'm doing it, and it's really not a script. It's really not. Also, you can do individual counseling. So there are several outlets that you probably need to adhere to, instead of trying to just do it by yourself. If it's not working by yourself, you need to get some help. I recommend you get some type of help.
And that's good advice, because counseling actually work. I know in the Black community, a lot of time we don't want to go to counseling. Like I tell people, I've been taking counseling since 2018. And if it wasn't from the counseling, I don't know how I can handle dealing with this today. Because over the years, I have learned to be able to deal with issues as they come to us. Now, I'm not gonna say I'm Superman or nothing, because I do get weak.
We all do.
And I just have to continue to pray and continue to push forward. Because one thing about it, we're dealing with a loss of a loved one. That loved one wants you to continue to live your life.
Yeah.
You have to continue to live.
Yeah, you do. And you got to understand that the reason why.
Thank you so much. I think that me just being able to say that out loud to a family member and someone I don't know, and I do journal. I write.
That's
so
good.
I've tried to just write this. My problem was getting past that. I'm stuck in denial. I'm stuck in denial on all of these people, because I feel like, sometimes in life we have a core group of people that are like our cheerleaders. Like, you can do wrong, bad, good, whatever, and they're going to be there to support you. They're going to tell you what's wrong or what's right, but they're your support system. I feel like all of these people that I lost were my support system.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate you. I'm going to reach out to some groups.
And Grieve, like I said, Grieve shares a program that's all over.
Just being able to say it out loud to another person.
Now,
that helps.
And it does. That's why, I said individual therapy. Sometimes just talking it through, just talking through the process, but you have to, it's a journey. Grief is a journey. You have to continuously be on that journey. It's not a particular time, but if I'm grieving the same way, that I grieved 13 years ago, that I grieved when that person passed away, I know I need some help. And I got to recognize that I can't be in denial about the help that I need.
And not only that, when you take counseling, the only way counseling is going to work if you are truthful with the counselor.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot go in there and say what you feel like they need to hear. You have to be truthful. Like I said, the first time I took counseling, my first couple of sessions, I just stared at my counselor and she asking me questions. I'm just looking at her. Mm-hmm. And I would give her a short answer. But by that third time, I was in tears.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ashamed to say that. I was in tears. I see we have some more comments coming in. Sheila, I appreciate you for calling in.
Thank you.
And we're going to give out Miss Kincaid information a little bit later. And she can also give out the information if someone dealing with grief. If you want someone who's going to be honest with you, Miss Kincaid is one of the people that can do that. And that's Sante Kincaid, Miss Kincaid right there. So,
but to be honest with you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
She's not the young lady you said it was her birthday, is it?
No, that was my co-host last night. She'll be on tomorrow night, Miss Risky. But definitely keep listening to the show. No problem. Continue to listen in, and we're going to give out all the information, especially with the grief counseling at Cornerstone Baptist Church over in Arlington. You can do it by Zoom. Mm-hmm. So we will give out that information later, and she will tell you how you can be a part of it. I appreciate it, Sheila. Thank you for calling. Continue to listen and support the show. I appreciate it, and I love you.
I love you,
Sheila. Thank you, Sheila, for calling in.
I see Carolyn is watching on Facebook also. Miss Risky had a question. Hey, how do you deal with individuals who are triggered by everything? They can't get over past, present life experience. They are so damaged that even when they try to help them, they fight you. How would you answer that one?
You got to deal with them where they're at and let them know that what you just said, I'm trying to help you, and you're not receiving it. You can always also offer counseling, offer, tell them that you think they need some counseling, try to push them in that direction, because something, we always look at what the person says right in the front. But there's always something in the back of what they're saying, it's their belief system, it's their experiences. And we always just listen to what they say. But what's behind the background? What's behind the answers that person's giving? Because if we say blue, we think that well, here, I say the wall is yellow. And then you say, no, that wall is blue. Instead of me saying, no, that wall is not. I need to think what made you say that wall was blue. Are you colorblind? Are you, were you taught that yellow was blue? So, but we always want to listen to just what the person says, and we have to really, that person sounds like they've been in pain. It sounds like they've had, like I said, a lot of life experiences, things that have happened, and they're responded to it in a negative way. But that person needs to really learn how to break down what's the core of the problem, what's actually really, really bothering them. And y'all probably just on the surface, but you probably really not getting to the peanut of what actually is happening.
Now what?
Mm-hmm.
What you call
okay,
it?
you say they don't use counseling. It stresses me out, but
yes,
you allow a person to stress you out.
Okay.
You know, you only have control of you only have control of yourself. So you give that person permission to stress you out. Because I can determine that no, I'm not going to allow you, especially if I've tried to help you and you're not responding to me. I need to stop. You know, if it's stressing me out, I'm going to be in the hospital and you're going to be okay. I'm going to be 6 feet under and you're going to be okay. That's not going to work. I do have control of myself. So you need to stop allowing that person to stress you out. Just explain to them, you know, I've tried to help you. I've made many suggestions. You're not receptive to those suggestions. So, there's nothing else I can really help you with.
Exactly. And one of the things you could do is be honest with that person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they don't want to take, first of all, you cannot provide help for everybody unless they ready for help.
Yeah.
If they're not ready, you cannot continue to do the same thing over and over. Sometimes you got to let them bump their head a little bit, and they will be
But
better.
don't let them stress you out.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You have to keep your peace.
Yeah, and that's allowing somebody to have too much control over you.
That's way too much control.
That's too much control. You stressing me out. You got too much control.
But definitely,
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is some good questions. I personally, I don't have time for negative stuff because I have so much going on, and I just don't have time for it. Tell them I love you, and hey, I keep telling you the same thing every other day. It's up to them to make a change.
It is.
You cannot force them to change.
And change is hard. I mean, change is really, really hard, especially if it's deep rooted in trauma. It takes work. It takes work. It takes a lot of work when you've been traumatized, especially in childhood. And a lot of people think because they're adults that they're not impacted by what happened in their childhood. But majority of the time, that's what's the reason why you're acting like you are as an adult. It's probably because of something's happening in that happened in your childhood.
Yeah, and see, that's one thing that
I always use boundary. Okay. I see T Counter wrote that. I was like, boundaries is excellent.
One thing that I don't know, it's a train of thought. I keep reading comments that's coming in, so change my situation. But one thing you have to do, you have to be mindful. You cannot allow other people's problems to become your problems. And if you're having to tell this person over and over, you have to say, "Hey, I'm tired.
Yeah,
I need
I
a
love
break."
you, but I can't do it no more.
Exactly. They're very restricted. Yeah, a lot of people is like that.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people don't want to change. Change is okay.
Majority of people that come to my office, they say they want to change, but they don't want to change. The majority.
And I'm gonna throw something out there. I think it's more of a generation curse.
It's learned behavior.
Yeah.
It's learned behavior. But we can unlearn those behaviors.
You have to want to.
You gotta want to.
Some people get comfortable with their lifestyle, what they used to, and that's all they know. They don't want anything different. They love drama. They love going to their friends and stressing their friends out just to benefit them. You can tell that friend, I don't know the situation that you're talking about, but you probably can tell that friend, hey, you know, this man or this woman keep hitting you upside your head. You need to get out of it.
Mhm. Mhm. It's easier said than done. It
Yeah.
is. It just is. It's easier said than done, you know, but you got to take some steps. You got to take small steps. You got to, you know, just like in the grief journey, it's not something that a lot of people want to stop feeling that pain. So they want to go through it fast. But every individual is different, and it depends on that relationship you have with that individual. If you didn't have a relationship with someone who passes away, guess what? You don't really grieve, you know. But when you love somebody, yeah, you do grieve, and grief is loving somebody. It's the cause. Loving somebody is the reason why you're grieving. If you didn't care about this, think about it. Somebody you really didn't know, was you crying? Was you, you know? No, you wasn't. But when you love somebody, those tears come, those sad feelings come, all of those things happen when you're, and that's a showing that shows that I cared about that person. I love that person. I miss that person.
Exactly. Had a comment to come in on Facebook. Sheila did write in and said sometimes people just look at you as the person they can come to solve their problems, and you have problems yourself. And
We all got problems.
people they will come to you, they would use you however they feel like it, and don't realize how you have problems. That's kind of like, for instance, I'm gonna get a little personal, very personal. And people ask me, why do I get so personal on this show? I had a conversation yesterday by text message, and when I had this conversation, um, when I had this conversation, and I'm trying to find it, um, which was kind of strange. Okay, I'm gonna get very personal and real with y'all right now. My father, who is a minister, I remember when I was 18 years old, 19, getting ready to go to work. My mom told me some man on the phone want to talk to me. I said, okay, I'm about to go to work, take the number, I call back. Maybe the dude down the street owed me money, whatever. But since then, for over 30 years, I have tried to have a relationship with this man. Didn't want nothing from him. You already missed the time I needed you. But here it is, for 30 years, you always rejected it for whatever reason. So one of my cousins on that side of the family, let me back up. One of his sister, and I know I'm gonna give some comments because I know they probably listening online, but I'm keeping it real.
Okay.
My aunt, his sister, every time I used to call her, I would call, hey, how you doing? You know, I was just thinking about you. I was looking at your number, and I need to save your number. Now you're looking at it and talking about you need to save it. For
Right.
20 years, she told me the same thing. And
Wow.
finally I said, well, apparently I wasn't on your mind too much. Because if you really thought about me, you would call me. In 20 years, she called me one time and said, oh, we having a family reunion. Now take it, when I first met her, they had a family reunion in East Texas. Me and a friend go down. It's hot. In Texas, it get hot. We the only two there. In the house that we was at, the owner of the house, who was another aunt, kept telling us to go outside. They'll be here in a minute. Y'all can go ahead and go outside. First of all, if you know me, I'm not finna be in the heat if I don't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then is bees out there too? No. So to cut across the field, I received this text yesterday, and I want y'all to listen to it clearly. He texts, "Cuz I saw your post. You lost your mother. If so, I've offered my sincerest condolences to you." I'm like, first of all, you said you saw my post. Then you said, if
so.
I lost my mother.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yes. My mother gained her wings last Wednesday. Thank you for reaching out. I pray that, I'm not going to even say my dad's name, it's okay. And at some point, he has to realize life is too short. For 30 years, I tried to build a relationship with him, and he chose not to acknowledge his child. God will hold him accountable. I've done my part.
Amen.
And have forgiven him. I thank you for reaching out, and hopefully you will continue to reach out to me, and not when someone dies. But if not, I understand. No hard feelings. So he go on. Then he started making it about himself. Forgetting about the fact when he first texted me, talking about my mom. So I went on and I said, hey, well, he ended up telling me that my father is pretty ill right now, have a progressive dementia. So my thing is, I responded, I said, I hate to hear that he's ill. As a child who tried to be a part of his life and was pushed away, not wanting anything from him except a father and son relationship. How should I feel knowing he's ill right now? Here it is for 30 years. Man have then I'm talking about and like I said, he's a preacher. I would see him somewhere. He used to hang out at a club on Samuel. I go down there, see his car there. I stop, go in. Hey man, how you doing? Let me go outside and talk to you real quick. I walk out, he go back in, close the door and lock it. A preacher. That's why I refuse to ever deny my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That's that generation curse we have to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of people out here that have that mindset. Yeah, I'm getting very personal tonight because I felt like it was very disrespectful. If you know my mother just died and you're talking about yourself, I'm like, you could have saved all of that. It didn't even make no sense for you texting me. I'm used to not listening to even hearing from you. Because every time you call, you want to tell me about something going on with you. Then you always say we have to stay in contact, but you never call. I text you, it might be a month or so before you ever respond back. So my thing, I'm like, forget it. I just don't do it. So the thing is, I'm not the only one that deals with this type of stuff. I know I can't be. But for him to spend that time, literally after that last statement I said, he sent me 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 texts back to back. Nothing had to do with the reason why he texted me at first.
Okay.
Nothing at all.
Is it guilt? You think it was guilt?
I've only met that dude one time. I only seen him one time. Because I understand I didn't ask to be here. What happened between him and my mom had nothing to do with me.
Amen. You're
I'm
right.
the product from it. But at the same time, why is I'm wasting my time trying to build a relationship with somebody who don't want it? And in the middle of a grief of
Right.
someone who I love dearly, someone who been there my entire life. But you want to text me and make it about yourself.
But what does Maya Angelou say? When someone shows you who they are, believe them. You just got
Exactly.
you have to allow yourself to forgive him, and then just move on, Curtis. You know, you have to, and the forgiveness is for you.
Oh
Forgive
yeah.
him. It's
I
not for him, you know, because of, and then and once I say again, when we just look at the answers, we need to look at the background. It's not an excuse, but we got to look at where this person came from. What was his background? Was he raised? Was, you know, is that what he saw as a father himself? You know, so you have to know that, and everybody doesn't fit. 70 to 75% model what they grew up with. They just do. And 25 to 30%, they see that this situation is something I need to change. But majority of people, 75%, model what they came from, with the background that they came from, right, wrong, good, bad. They model what they come from. And it was, I had I'm not gonna say a similar situation, but me and my father wasn't close. And when I forgave him for not being in my life, and I let him know. I had a conversation with him. I said, you know, if you carry any guilt, don't. I said, because I had a great childhood. I was good. You know, like you said, my mom, my sisters, they were there for me. My brothers, they were there. So I was okay. And I told him, don't carry that guilt. But he carried it until the day he passed away. We never became got in a close relationship. You know, we talked here and there. But when I forgave him, it was freeing. And I forgave him way before he passed away. I was in my 20s. You know, I didn't want to carry that weight of that person. Um, you know, but he chose to carry it because, you know, he couldn't give it up. Because every time I talked to him, he always talked about, oh, I wish I had money to give you. I was like, I don't need money. I'm good. You know, my life is good. But he always tried to say, I wish I could do this. I'm good. You don't even have to do it. And then when he got sick, one day he teased. He thought but I knew he was serious. He said, you know, such and such said I should come live with you. And I was quiet as a mouse. I was quiet. Like you say, you hear a mouse piss on cotton. I was quiet.
I feel you. I
But
feel you.
because of me loving the Lord and that scripture about honoring thy mother and thy father, I was torn somewhat. But I went to a friend of mine's mature sister, and and God sent me to her because guess what? She had went through something similar with her mother. Her grandmother raised her. And she was like, Tony, you don't owe him that. You don't. You don't owe him to come down here for you to take care of him. And because he lived in Virginia. And you know, you don't owe him that. You know, if that's something you want to do it. But you don't owe him that. And it was something I chose not to do. But he never asked that again. I guess my silence was like an answer. But he never answered. He never asked that or said that again. But when he passed away, I was his only child. And when he passed away, I went up there, did what I needed to do, handled that business, and I came back home. And I had no regrets. I didn't feel any remorse. I didn't feel anything. And I know it was stemming from me forgiving him and not holding a grudge against him. Because like I said, I only have control of myself. I don't have control of your behavior. And because I don't have a control of your behavior, you know, what I see is what I get. And I got to accept who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you talk about you the only child, see, it been rumored that
Now I was his only child, but
yeah,
I had sisters and brothers,
yeah.
from with my mom, but I was his only child.
But see, I asked my aunt one time. I said, "Hey, did he have any more kids? Do we have any more?" And the only thing she could tell me, it been rumored that he have some. Now, I will tell you a blessing that came out of this because kind of find out one of my childhood friends, him and their aunt was married. And just so happened when all this happened, I found out about her because he was raising their cousin as if she was his child.
Okay.
And her father wasn't in her life.
Okay.
So we met, we talked, and then we lost contact for a couple of years. And when we got back in contact, we made an agreement. We didn't care what happened in our life. We're gonna always keep in contact.
Mhm.
And even though we're not biological brother and sister, and uh, um, he wasn't actually her father. But if you tell her she not my sister, you might be in a fight.
Okay.
You might be in a fight. And because regardless of whatever, that's my sister.
I know that's right. That's right.
Matter of fact, we got into it this morning because she probably get upset at me. She kept saying, "I'm coming down there to support you." I'm like, "Look, you don't have to come. It's gonna be streamed. I can send you the link once we get it. You don't have to come." And we argued for about 15, 20 minutes, and finally I said, "Fine," because I knew that was a fight I was not gonna win.
Right. Right. Right.
So I can't wait to see my sister.
Amen.
She'll
Amen.
be here Monday.
Okay.
Um, so that's one of the best things that came out of this situation.
Mhm.
I could tell you stories that happened between me and I should just put them on blast, but I'm not going to do that.
Don't do it. Don't do
What I knew 2 weeks after meeting him what he was all about.
it. Okay.
I knew exactly what he was about. I'm trying to get my dinner order. Wife says what I want for dinner. So, but 2 weeks after meeting him, see, that's the problem. 2 weeks after meeting him, I passed by his church off of Dolphin Road in Dallas. Passed by his church. I seen him out there. I stopped. I turned around. I'm like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" "I'm doing good." I told him, I said, "Hey, it was my birthday, my 20th birthday." I said, "Hey, man, my mom them, because my mom them always loved celebrating birthdays."
Right.
I said, "Hey, man, today is my birthday. They having a fish fry for me tonight. I would love for you to come. You don't need to bring nothing. I would love for you to come." Like I said, he's a preacher, and we was at his church. He told me, he said, "Man, take your punk ass down the road." And I looked at him, I'm like, "Did I hear this right?"
Right. Right. Right.
And I'm looking like, hold on. And before I knew it, because I don't know this man that good, it only been 2 weeks.
Right.
And before I knew it, I said, "Man, I would treat you just like another on the street." And I'm like, you know what? Let me leave.
Right.
Because one thing I should never do is disrespect my parents. are my mother and my donor. Um, I hate to say it like that, but that's what it was. So the thing is, I said I had to leave. I asked God to forgive me for talking like that and what I wanted to do to him.
Right.
But as a preacher, and I ended up telling him this before, because after that, I kept going back. I used to go to, I had just started going to Friendship West. I would go to Friendship West. Then I would go to his church after.
Mm.
And one Father's Day, we in there, whatever subject they was talking about. Now, he's a great preacher. Don't get me wrong. He can preach. And we in there, and the subject was talking about the father and son relationship. And I'm back there, and I'm sitting on my hands. I'm biting my lip because I'm like, please do not ask me anything. And the mother of the church asked me, well, Curtis, how do you feel about this subject? I almost bit a plug out my lip. And the first thing came to my mouth, I said, well, when the son wants to have a relationship with the father, and the father keep pushing the son away. And when I said that, he talking about that's personal. We'll talk about that after Sunday school. After Sunday school, he said, come on back here and let's talk in the office. Go in there, and that man cussed me out. I did silly. I told him, I said, until you do right by me, God would never bless you with your members that you could have. So yeah, I've been through some things.
Right.
And I'm getting very personal, and especially with what this cousin on his side texted me yesterday. If your mother died.
Right.
So a couple of years ago, it would have been a different response. Would have been a very
Praise be to
different
God.
response. You ain't lying, because I used to cuss like a sailor. Matter of fact,
Praise be to God for a change.
I used to get whoopings for cussing when I was a kid. So I'm good at cussing. But I thank God I've been changed. I'm working progress, but that's how real it is.
Amen.
That's how real it is. But you want to do this in a time like this.
Yeah.
Doctor. Because he's a doctor.
But you know, Satan comes to kill, steal, destroy. And take your focus off of him. Focus on your mom and your family. And focus on your grief, which y'all are going through. Don't focus on him. That's just a blip. Let that blip go. Exactly. I wouldn't even give him, that much thought.
Oh, I don't. Welcome to the show, Miss Novella Martin, who is watching on Facebook. She came on our prayer call I think it was Monday night, last Monday, not this past Monday, but the Monday before. And that's all I can say. She did it up. She prayed, and she prayed hard. I was like, man, my cousin was like, are you coming back tomorrow night? So I really appreciate her. That's the mother of one of our good friends. And I appreciate my crew. Like I tell people, I tell my family, during this time, I have a great support group.
Amen.
Even my personal counselor. We talked on Tuesday. My mother passed on Wednesday. And when my wife reached out to her, she made herself available the next day. And she told me, she said, look, if you need to talk between now and our next session, reach out to me. I'm here.
I hear you.
I'm glad I have friends, family members, and also my counselors that I can reach out to,
Mm-hmm.
because I cannot carry this weight by myself.
And you don't have
Um,
to. You don't have to.
and that's the funny part about it, because um, when she texted, I thought about it for a while. I said, you know what? She texted back that Wednesday, last Wednesday. I didn't respond to her until Thursday, because Miss Risky, she texted me that morning. She said, "How are you doing today?" I said, I think I'm okay." I said, "I think I'm okay, but I want to do the show tonight." And Miss Risky said, "Okay." Um, so my counselor, she had she when I responded back to her text, and I told her, "Good morning." She said, I said, "Thank you so much for everything you do for me. I see the difference it make in my life. On one hand, my pride say I'm okay. But on the other hand, my mind is saying, you're not alone. Don't carry this burden by yourself
Mm-hmm.
on your shoulders. Don't carry this burden on your shoulder by yourself. It's okay to ask, slash, accept help." I said, "Yes, I would like to talk. I don't have to carry this by myself."
Amen.
She said, "You're right. I'll see you at 11." And we talked. And I'm telling anybody that's listening right now that is going through this, you're not alone. You're not alone. I feel your pain. I know what you're going through. Um,
Can I say something in regards to that? One thing we really that Grief Share taught me was about saying equal pain, because our pain is based on, as I said earlier, our relationship with that person, our love for that person, and a lot of other factors. And like your mom passed, my mom is gone. I can't really say I know how you feeling, because our relationship with our moms might be different. And
exactly.
everybody, and we always want to think that everybody has a great relationship with that person. But a lot of times it's not like that, you know. So I've learned not to really say that, because I don't really know how you feel. Grief is an individual journey. We can't go. You may have a support group, but you can't go through it. You have to go through it individually, because even in the same household, everybody's feeling different. You know, my relationship is different from my sister's relationship with my mom. You know, my brother's is different, and all of our relationships, even in the same household, can still be different. And we grieve because we love, and our loves a lot of times is different.
Yeah. And to my siblings, we in this together.
Oh
We
yeah.
will work it out. I know my sisters had a very special relationship with my mother,
Mhm.
and I know they hurting,
Mhm.
and I'm here for you. Um, if each one of us had our own very special relationship with
Mhm.
her,
Mhm.
um, so we're all going through this, and we're gonna make it through it.
Yeah.
Through to my nieces and my great nieces and great nephews. It's okay. We're gonna get through it. Um, just so happening the day that she passed, the weekend before, I had called my oldest niece, and she didn't answer. Then when she called me back, I think I was on the phone doing something, and we basically played phone tag. And the morning that she passed, my niece texted me. Hey, Unc, how you doing? I said, I'm doing good. How y'all doing over there? I said, we doing good. I said, that's good. Call me when you get the opportunity. She said, okay. Call me when she went on lunch. I said, hey, how are you feeling about what's going on with your nanny? And she started crying. I said, look, I understand. I understand. It hurt.
Mm-hmm.
By this time, I don't know if she could tell, I was kind of crying a little bit too. But I'm trying to be strong for them. And I'm like, look, one good thing about it, you're at an age where you have a lot of memories. A lot of memories. Hold on to those memories. When you feel down, think about those memories. Because you'll think about something funny and it'll make you laugh. I said, that's what you do. It's okay to cry,
Mm-hmm.
but you have a lot of memories. Unfortunately, when I came up, a lot of memories of my grandparents, they was much older. I didn't come around until early 70s. My grandfather born in 1900. So they was
Mm-hmm.
older by the time I came around. So most of the memories I have is them at the later in life. So after telling her that, she said, okay. And it was just a couple hours later. I called my mom that morning, like I normally would do. My sister told her I was on the phone. She said, hey, boo. And I said, hey, mom, how you feeling this morning? I'm feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, I just called to check up on you. I'll call you later on, check up on you. I love you. I love you too. And I've never got that opportunity to call her back.
Mm-hmm.
I knew when my brother called me, I knew what the deal was. I knew exactly what it was before I answered the phone. I already knew. And I had to sit and think for a minute before I can, before I had any feelings. I had to think for a minute. And my wife was here with me and she said, you okay? I said, I'm fine. And that's when it hit me. My mom is gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to calling my mama on a daily basis,
Okay.
talking to her. If I cook, what you cook today? If she cooked, we're talking about that. I have plenty of memories of my mom and I.
Mm-hmm.
We would always talk about cooking a lot of time, things that was going on. She would always ask about my daughter every year when it got close to her birthday. Have you heard from her yet? Have you found her yet? Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna miss a lot of things about her,
Yes, you are.
but I still have all those memories.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm not the only one that's dealing with this. My entire family is dealing with it. Like I said, we do a prayer call every night, and we're finding out some great information of stuff that happened in the family, finding out our history of our family. I just found out today my grandfather them used to make their own syrup. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And I'm like, okay, finding out all type of stuff. They used to grow cotton, used to grow cotton. And I'm like, man. So it's some good history, and we're gonna keep this going. We're actually we want to know more because now we're hungry for more information, and so we're definitely hungry for more information, and we're gonna keep it going. But and another thing, it's no time frame on grief.
Nope.
No time frame. So
Nope.
definitely don't think it's gonna be you'll be good for a day or two. Anything may happen.
Oh yeah, and you'll have triggers. You know, like I told you last Friday was we didn't cry, but we were quiet, which said a lot. Me and my nephew, it was just very quiet.
Um, okay, I just got a text. But what what I'm sorry, I'm looking at something else. Someone sent me a text and um hold on, I see what's going on. But yeah, so it's gonna be hard. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow me on social media, you know my birthday is in June. My mom's birthday is right after mine. That's gonna be a struggle.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
first holidays, first birthdays, first you know, celebrations that she's not there, all of those. And the most of the time, the first year, you're still really kind of going on adrenaline. That second year, it really settles in a lot more. Just not having that person present at those events is going to make it. You know, you're going to notice it.
exactly, and it's I don't know. I'm struggling now. People may say she lost the battle. I don't.
Mm-mm.
I say she won it.
Yeah,
She won it.
absent from the body, present with the Lord.
Exactly. She
Yeah,
won her
no more
the
suffering,
battle.
no more pain, no more. You know, nothing. Just joy, pure joy.
And it's a struggle. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
definitely a struggle, but I know where my relationship is with Christ. And we're gonna make it through it.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it through it.
It's gonna
We
be
don't
hard, you know.
we
And
don't
then
have a
and it's
choice.
important for y'all to rally together because a lot of times family tend to isolate because they don't want to cause another person to cry or we don't want to upset anybody else. But really, it's really a time to rally together. That if y'all gonna be crying, let's cry together. You
Yeah,
know, so we can be each other's support system instead
yeah.
of trying to. And most families do. Oh, I don't want to make such and such upset. I don't want to make this person upset. But you know, both all of y'all are thinking the same thing. So why not come together and and grieve together?
That's it.
Yeah.
We
A lot
have
of
to.
times I don't want to talk about such because it's going to make him upset. I don't talk about that person, you know, unless that person says, you know, I just cannot, you know, talk about him or her right now. If they ask you not to do it, then that's one thing, but most people will not. And a lot of times people feel like you're forgetting their loved ones because you're not talking and it's not intentional. You're just trying to protect that person, but they think that you're trying to forget that individual. But you know, so you got to be verbal. You got to communicate. You know, like just like you said earlier, Curtis, about, you know, I do need help. I got to say that I need help. You know, this is hard. You know, pray for me. You know, do something. You know, but it's hard. Not trying to make people figure out what's going on. Be verbal and tell them. You know, I need some water. Your family needs something. No, we don't need anything. Bring some water. We need some plates.
Yep.
And COVID is a little harder, but you could drop it on the curb.
And
Bring it to the door.
and one of the biggest things with me, and I'm working on it. I don't like to be a burden on no one. So it's really hard for me to ask somebody for help. And normally, if I reach out to someone, I'm like, hey, if they say they busy, okay, no problem. No problem. They be like, what's going on? I'm okay. Everything fine. Because I don't want to put a burden on no one. Matter of fact, um, I said, Sheila also said so true about what you're saying. I'm sorry, I had to look down at my phone. But I had sent the message to Miss Risky today. And I just said, just pray for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just pray for me. She called me. She like, hey, I'm here. Let's talk. Let's talk. So we talked, and I felt good. I'm glad I have the support that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have the support, but what about you?
Right.
It's okay to have that support team around you. True friends, they're gonna be honest with you. When you're going through a time like this, someone who is gonna take time out and listen, let you vent. I've done that about 4 times today. Called by 4 different friends and vented, and they listened. And when I got finished, I was okay.
Okay. Yeah. You gotta
I
get it out.
told them thank you. I
Mhm.
needed that.
You gotta get it out.
So you're not in this alone. This is something that I personally is dealing with. It's a struggle for me. For me to come out and tell people that I need help, that always been one of the only thing I never would say about myself, but I'm always willing to help others. But when it
Mhm.
come down to me, I would never ask for help. Um, so I'm happy in the position that I'm in now because I don't have no problem with asking for help. I still struggle
I
because
do too. I do too, but I'm better. But I do struggle because, like I said, I'm usually the one trying to do for somebody else.
yeah,
But there are times when we do need other people, and we got to be verbal about it. That we need help. Instead of trying to strong or just deal with it yourself. It's so much harder dealing with it with yourself, and then grief is is not something that goes away the next day. After you have your ceremony or home going for your loved one, for your mom, you know reality sets in. That she's really gone. And a lot of times that you think that's automatic, but it's really not. You just I remember wanting the world to stop when my mom, I was like, man, they still doing stuff, they still going to work, and I'm thinking, don't they know my mama passed away? That's how I was feeling inside. Like I wanted everything to freeze. you know, let's stop right here. My mama passed away. Give me a moment. I need some moments. But life goes on.
life have to go on.
The reality, and yes, like you said earlier, your loved one wants your life to go on.
Exactly.
They do. They want your life to go on, but it's still hard. It's still hard to put sometimes one foot in front of the other. It was very challenging for me. It really was, especially when my mom first passed away. It was very, very challenging because, as like you, Curtis, I talked to her all the time. She was in New York, but going to work, things like that, I talked to her. We talked all the time, sometime a couple of times a day, and it was and for a long time, it was me and my mom. My sisters are older and brothers are older. So for a long time, it was me and her. So we really, had a great bond. So, but I just thank God for the time He gave me with her, because I know people who lost their moms and fathers, at a very young age. I started looking at it from that focus. Lord, thank you, for allowing me to, have her in my life, and the things that she instilled in me, that I still, work today.
Exactly. And for the ones just not tuning in, you are listening to Speak On It with Who You With, oh Lord, Who You With, Kurt Dog, with Ken K.
So you forgot your name.
She she's a licensed professional, been on the show many times. You can live chat with us in the chat room. You can also call in if you have questions for Miss Kincaid. You can call in 972-591-3665, 972-591-3665. Miss Novella Martin said, God is so good. He made us to have emotion, grief, sadness, happiness, etc. But let us experience it a little at a time. When we trust his wisdom, we will intervene so that we don't have to be overwhelmed. He sends people that he can encourage you through, and he renews your spirit and strength. Wow.
Yep.
Like I said, Miss Novella, she almost brought the house down when she came
Okay. Okay. All right, Novella.
I really appreciate everyone that have reached out. I made an attempt to respond back to every message that was sent on Facebook. It may take me a while. I will eventually get it, but sometimes it's hard. It's hard. So I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, but I appreciate y'all. My family appreciate it. They can read the comments. I really y'all. And it's it's not easy. It's not. It's
Take it
not.
moment by moment. People say day by day. This is a moment by moment situation. It can't
Yeah,
be day by day is too much. Just take it moment by moment. Just try to just like allow yourself to grieve. Right now you may be in the midst of just getting things organized and together, but allow yourself to grieve and not stay busy or not
yeah,
try to just occupy yourself. You're gonna have to grieve.
exactly. Welcome to the show, Net Call. Just checked in on Facebook. Um, I I'm telling you, it been overwhelming, the love that we receive, and
Good.
and people tell me I don't know how you can uh, react the way that you're reacting during this time, and that's the God in me,
Yeah.
because I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Jesus wept.
Um, exactly. He sure did. He sure did.
Jesus
Um,
wept. That's
and
all. That like I say, drop the mic.
exactly. Well, say time to cut the lights off. He did.
Yeah, Jesus
He
wept.
did.
That's
And
it.
and I really wanna, not only my crew, Chris Norman. I appreciate you, brothers. Sean Martin, they Miss Martin, um, Miss Wilson, Monica Martin, um, the Mullins. I appreciate y'all. Mother Mullen, I appreciate you, because either they reaching out to me, or they letting me know they are praying for me. But then I talk about Reverend Jerry all the time. Yesterday I was out and about, and I spent about 40 minutes on the phone with him. And I was at a store at the time. Spent 40 minutes on the phone with him, and he was like, "Man," he said, "Look, when I told him I had been up since 2:30, he said, 'Look, I don't care what time it is. If you call me in the middle of the night, give me a couple of seconds to get myself together. But I'm here for you.
Amen.
That's what you call a true friend.
Mm-hmm.
And Pastor Fitzgerald, like I told you today, I appreciate you. I appreciate not only Pastor Fitzgerald, but also other church members from Friendship West that have reached out. I
I know Pastor
appreciate you.
Fitzgerald.
Oh yeah,
He used to go to Cornerstone.
I told Pastor Fitzgerald, I said, did he have that black bag when he was there?
Yeah, he did.
I told him the other day, I said, Pastor,
Yes, he did.
I said, look, we was trying to decide what pastor we was going to use, and I suggested him. He said, man, I'm honored. He said, I'm gonna be there regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be there. And I said, Pastor, I could just see you coming out with that little black bag.
He had the black bag.
Coming out with that black bag and pulling stuff out, and you like, how's that bag holding all that stuff? And he's preaching to everything he pulling out of that bag to the word that he's about to give.
Amen.
And I told him,
I don't remember that part, but I remember him having a bag, that little bag.
No, he the first time I seen him preach, I'm like, why is he going up in a pulpit with a black bag, with this bag? And he started pulling stuff out while he was preaching at the same time. I'm like, this dude is great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I need to pay more attention to him.
Mm-hmm. He's
So
definitely a gem. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Pastor Fitzgerald is,
Yeah.
and not only him.
I think he used to be our youth minister. If I'm not mistaken. I mean, this was, it's umpteen years ago, because he's been in Friendship West forever.
Yeah,
But it was umpteen years ago.
He's been there longer, way longer than me. And I appreciate Pastor Haynes for the work that he's doing, because he have pastors that can feed to your spirit.
Amen. Amen.
All of them. At one time, when I first started going there, I almost quit going, because every time I heard a different pastor preach, they was talking about what I was going through. Didn't even know me. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why is I'm coming to church and these folks know all my business like this? So I'm like, hey, but the reality, I appreciate each one of them. I talked to Pastor today, and it just lifted my spirit when I talked to him earlier. And I'm like, man, this is wonderful. You are listening to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt Dog, Miss Kincaid, a licensed counselor who's been on the show many of times. Tonight we're talking about dealing with the loss of a loved one. Now, you may need counseling about something else that is going on in your life. This is the time to chime in. She's here. Don't wait until we start saying our goodbyes to chime in, because that's too late then. But she's here to help you. If you can put it in the chat, or you can actually call in 972-591-3665. Just follow the prompt, and I will let you in and speak your mind. This is something that we all have faced.
Yeah. And with this pandemic, look, we over 500,000 deaths,
which is sickening.
Yeah, over 500,000. That there are a lot of people grieving, and a lot of those people grieve by themselves or grieve individually. They don't really, they just want to be private with it. But sometimes it's okay, but sometimes when you're just like the lady that called about the one death after the other. We had one of our ministers, he lost like 5 people, I think 5 or 6 people in a month from COVID. And it included his father and 2 of his brothers. from COVID, and I think a sister-in-law, and there was somebody, a couple other people that they had lost. Just the impact of that, you know, that, and we got to know that 500,000. Look how many people that is, and how many families that is that has lost, you know, loved ones. So we you know, grief is real. And those
Yes,
people
it
are
is.
grieving. We see it on TV all the time about those, you know, a lot of those families, you know, are interviewed and they talk about that journey. And that's just from COVID. That's not from other diseases that has happened due 2020, you know, in 2021 thus far. You know, that's just COVID.
Yeah. And you're not alone.
Nope.
It's help is available.
It is. You know,
Help
it,
is
it really
available.
is, you know, and I, you know, once again, want to shout out Grief Share, great program. Like I said, it's international, um, and it does help. You know, I've been doing Grief Share probably about, we do it twice a year, and I've been doing it 6 or 7 years, about, or maybe 6 or 7 years. And I still, we have a workbook. I still write in that workbook, as the video is playing after 6 or 7 years. That's how much the information, you know, new information is just, you know, your brain retains so much. And I'm still writing because there's just always something else, it seems like, that's highlighted that I didn't hear before. And like I said, I listened to the video 7 years,
Mm.
and really, and that means 14 times because we do it twice a year. And so it shows how the grief process is, that, you know, sometimes you're paying attention, but you know, because of that grief, you're not really hearing. And I'm not in a place where I'm grieving, like I said, with my mom, the same, but I've lost two sisters as well. Um, in the last 4 years, you know, I've lost two sisters. So that grief, you know, you still have to, you know, it's there. It's the impact is not the same. It's not as fresh, but it's still there. You know, one of my sisters, I talk to her every day as well. And so it's a great loss. And I think about that all the time, but I allow myself to do it. There was a friend of mine a couple of years ago. She was opening up a new ministry, doing something, and during this she honored her mom, and it's just about 2 years ago. And the things that she said to her mom was something that I would definitely say to mine. And I sat at that table and I just cried like, I mean, I cried and nobody said one word. Nobody, they probably was like, what is going on? I didn't get up from the table. I just allowed myself to, you know, have that moment. I wasn't ashamed of it. I allowed, and afterwards, you know, I got up and I was okay. But a lot of times we try to hold stuff like that in. You know, when you're
Yeah.
feeling those emotions, you got to let those emotions out. You know, the you keep it in, that it makes your grief journey last longer. You know, by holding that stuff in, not really, I don't want to have this pain. I don't want to do this. Grief is painful. It's no way around it. It is painful. And a lot of times people, when you see people that heal faster, like my mom was sick for a while. So we really started the grief process before she passed away, because we saw her going. And I was even in a place where I was like, Mama, don't stay here for us. Because the person that was there was not my mom, you know. But we start, you know, you don't realize you start that grief process early when that person's starting to decline, and you're seeing that person, you know, things changing. That, you know, you see it shifting, you see it going in a direction where they maybe it's possibility of them passing away. You start grieving. A person who dies suddenly, it's harder because you haven't had that time to grieve. You know, somebody die in an accident, somebody just die suddenly. I have a friend, his wife, she was at a homegoing, and she passed out at the homegoing, and she
Mm.
passed away yesterday.
Oh yeah.
You know, so something like that, you haven't had a chance to prepare or anything. That, you know, that's something that your body's in shock. You know, you're in a shock mode right there. That kind of grief a lot of time takes, well, you can know the Lord, but it still takes longer, because I got to deal with that instant. You know, you here today, I just saw you, and you okay, and then now I don't see you anymore.
Mm. Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, she was at a home going and passed out,
Mm.
and she was
And
with somebody else, So that's a lot.
yeah, that is.
Mhm.
That's extremely a lot. Um, now, you mentioned that on the show before about the fact that if it's a person is ill and you see this and you see which direction it's going in,
Mhm.
that grief start right then.
Oh yeah, restarts. Whether you know it or not, you start to grieve.
Because what happened is this person started to get worse and worse.
They're transitioning.
You start accepting the fact of what's about to happen.
Hmm.
And because you've been on the show several times, I feel some of the things you said on past shows have really helped me.
Wonderful.
And I I remember the Monday last week, Monday before last, I told my family on that prayer call, I said, look, it's a struggle for me to see my mother in that condition.
Hmm.
It's hard for me to see this. This is not easy. Now, the thing is, a lot of my family members have reached out to me, especially when we started this prayer call, because I did not, I just got the text um, from the family group text. We doing a prayer call at this time. And when I came on there, I didn't know what to expect.
Hmm.
Um, but then when I got on there, so many family members was on there.
Okay.
My siblings and I, we decided that we're going to be open about everything. And that's what we done. It was no, it wasn't that first night. A lot of people was crying on there. We said, you know what? We're going to encourage mama. We don't want to bring her down.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
want to encourage her. So
Hmm.
this is not going to be a sad occasion. We're going to laugh. We're going to joke. We're going to have fun. We're going to pray. We're going to read scripture, whatever it is. Whatever you want to do, that's what we're going to do. And my mom, she would come on there a couple of times and she would say, I appreciate y'all. Your
Amen.
prayers is what's keeping me going. What y'all praying, that's giving me strength. Then when she started not feeling up to it, that's when it got hard. But even the night she passed, I told them, I said, look, we still having this prayer call tonight.
Amen.
This do not have to stop. Sheila said that transparency in her faith priceless. You're right. You're right. But I told them this have to keep going.
Hmm.
I know we hurting.
Hmm.
I know we are.
And y'all need each other. You
Yeah.
you do. You need each other. And
And
that's a source of comfort. Just being around each other, praying with each other, it is a source of comfort, and allow yourselves to comfort each other.
and for what have came out of this, I'm telling you, tonight we didn't stay on there a long time, but we're finding out some stuff. One of my cousins out of North Carolina, she came on the call tonight, and apparently her brother, that was another family member we lost in October, I believe.
Mm.
'Cause we got hit hard, October, November, and back to back. So she found a photo book that her brother had, and it belonged to her grandmother.
Wow.
So some of the pictures she was showing in there, I was like, man, even seeing my old cute baby picture in there. So it was it was good. But the history that we are learning from our family
Wonderful.
and some of the things that they've done, I was like, man, how my aunt told me today that they used to, my family is from a small town in East Texas called Gilmer, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they used to travel from Gilmer to McKinney, Greenville, and pick cotton back in the days. They all played their part.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was, it was like they all went out and worked, but when they made the money, my aunt told me today, she said, because I called her, I was in her neighborhood, I was going to take her some lunch, and I called her, and she said, what happened is they had cotton field. I'm talking about on the land that my grandfather purchased.
Mm-hmm.
Had cotton fields, sweet potatoes, uh, all, I think she said peanuts the other day. All type of stuff that they made money off of. And said every time they sold something, each one, whoever was in college that time, they took that money, they paid for their college.
Wow.
But they also took that money, they paid for that land. They made sure that the family was okay. And I mentioned to her, I said, hey, honey, so it sounded like to me, Big Daddy was a businessman. She said, no, baby. Back then, it wasn't him being a businessman. It was about the fact of working and owning something.
Mm-hmm.
Because she said, I got tired of him saying it, but I understand it today. He used to always say, when you work, you do your best. Make sure you own something that nobody can take from you. So that was great. That was very great. T Cal said, I had a customer came into my store and she told me when I first got there that she had recently moved to Denton and didn't know anyone. I knew I hadn't seen her for a while. And when I saw her, and when I saw, I guess it cut off probably too much. Oh, I saw today, she said she called back home and realized so many people she grew up with or knew passed away due to COVID.
Mm. Yeah.
Grief is happening everywhere.
It's everywhere. I mean, it really is. It's everywhere. And like I said, though, that COVID is just one aspect of it, but people are still dying from natural causes, heart disease, cancer, and all kind of other conditions. And the funeral homes with COVID, they've been overwhelmed. We see where people had, at one point they was having to get trucks, but thanks be to God, those numbers are starting to come down. Where the hospitals are not as full, and it's not as many COVID cases. There's still COVID cases, but not as many.
Hmm. T Cal said I could tell me talking to her really helped. In fact, I gave her my number, and as I got home, she texted that she really
Oh,
appreciated it.
really
People
nice.
are really hurting.
They
Now,
are.
now, see, the thing is, sometimes a person may randomly come up and talk to you.
Hmm.
Take out a couple of minutes, listen.
Hmm.
You could be saving that person's life. because that person may be at their wits' end.
Yeah.
And because of your conversation, it can actually save someone.
Yeah. You're
It
right.
can save someone.
You're right.
And not only that, it may be saving you. Because you may be at your wits' end. But the right person show up at the right time. And when they show up, your whole life can change.
It is. And we got to be receptive, we have to be comforting, we have to be empathetic to people. So many people aren't, they aren't empathetic. They just, in their own world. But, for those who know the Lord, we should be, and those, you don't even, if you don't know the Lord, you should be. I should be able to be empathetic to someone if they're going through it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I should be able to be compassionate, and not always be about my own, own agenda.
Exactly. I know tonight I have gotten real personal about some things. But that's where I'm at in my life. I don't care what the way people feel about me. I can be open. I can talk about whatever is going on with me. Because by me talking about it, it's helping me.
It's healing. It's freedom.
I'm not holding all that on the inside. But for that cousin that texted me yesterday, that's not the way you do it.
Right.
And I hope you don't do it to no one else.
Right.
I'm sure I'll probably get a call or a text from one of those family members, because some of them do follow me on Facebook.
And hopefully that person just didn't realize, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they didn't realize the verbiage that they used, and in what they said. They didn't realize if so, like I said, if so. And also y'all are also really, really in a tender place right now as well. You got to recognize that too. I'm real sensitive right now. My mama just passed away.
Yeah.
I'm sensitive.
I agree with you, but when he said, if your mother passed away, not sorry that she passed away, if she passed away. And the thing is with that, why would I put something up on Facebook like that if it wasn't true? If it wasn't true.
Yeah.
You said if.
Right.
Back in the days, we would say if was a fifth, we all would be drunk. But I'm just
I never heard that.
Oh, maybe that was in my hood. No, but the thing is,
yeah, and like I said, it's so much of a burden to carry things. Don't carry. Let him take ownership of that. Like I said, I'm telling you how I feel. Release it.
And that's what I've done. When he sent that yesterday, and I said what I said, and I was honest with him. I said, look, I'm asking in one of the later texts, I told him, I said, look, I hope you keep your word. If you say you're gonna reach out, reach out.
Right.
Don't just say it. Be about it. Keep your word. Always been taught your word is your bond. See, that's one thing my aunt told me yesterday. Told us on the call the other day. See, back in the days when they was growing up, because we asked, how did Big Daddy buy all this land? Now we talking about early 1900s. He was born in 1900, so we talking about maybe the 30s or 40s or something. I said, how did he buy this land back then? She said, because back then, your word was your bond.
Amen.
A handshake closed the deal.
Okay. Not
And
no
I
more.
said, man. So I was like, oh, wow. So the thing is, I hope what we're talking about tonight can help somebody. I hope it can. Yeah, we may laugh and joke here once in a while, but I'm telling you as a person, it's not easy. Just because I had a smile on my face, I may not always feel like it. And at times, be careful how you approach certain folks.
Mhm.
Because I cannot say I'm always gonna have a smile. And if you cross me in the wrong way, it may not be the response I want to, because in a later text I sent him yesterday, I apologized to him.
Okay.
I said, I apologize for the simple fact you don't have anything to do with this. You're not the one that causing the problem. I recognize that. I'm a Gemini, and what they say about Gemini, we have two ways: we'll cuss you out and talk bad about you, and then come back and apologize 30 minutes, 30 seconds. Yeah, I I'm known for that, but
But I don't have to be like that.
you got to be careful, because you don't want to.
I ain't gotta
You
be
don't
like,
want
I got a choice. I got a choice. I got a
to. I
choice.
know, and I'm good at it, because for me, I always said I had, how people say Geminis have a good twin and an evil twin.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
always said I have my evil twin under control.
mm-hmm.
But what he did yesterday, what I texted him back after he texted, I was being straight up honest with him. And after I said it, I was okay. And I said, hey, I just hope you keep your word. I did apologize. I said, if I'm coming off angry, it's because I'm him.
Yeah.
Here it is. My mother just passed.
Right. That's exactly it, Curtis. Yeah.
And now the man that helped conceive me, now I'm hearing he's probably gonna pass too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how should I deal with that? This man pushed me away for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my sister, I said, you know what's crazy? I said, look, I hope and pray that when his time comes, they don't need to contact me and ask me for anything. I hope he have his affairs in order,
Mm-hmm.
because here it is. This man could have had a great relationship with his son. He choose not to.
And that's
Only,
about him. That's not about you.
only thing I can do is forgive him, keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at peace with it.
Yeah.
But when it's
That's about him. And like I said, and there's some demons in his life, and he may be emulating and modeling something that he grew up with. He probably was treated the same way,
yeah, and
or was done the same way, and instead of correcting that behavior, he just continued that cycle.
and
And
that's
that's,
what
yeah, that's what it is, continuing that cycle.
we need to break,
Yeah. But you
that
got to realize you're
generational
in the
curse.
cycle.
Yes,
You know, you got to realize that that it is a cycle. A lot of people don't realize that they are modeling things that they grew up with. They don't realize it. You know, you yelling, you look back, your mama yell, your daddy yell, your sisters yell. And you thinking it's just something that you do, but you grew up in that kind of environment.
exactly. So this is the time where you can get some help. Please do not wait until we get ready to do our closing, and then you come back talking about Well, I got this question. I got that question. Look,
You can
once we
pass it on, Curtis. I can answer it.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
what I'm end up doing because the
Yeah,
first
and
time.
I'm with your counselor, Dion. You need me. You and Tracy need me. I'm here for
I
sure.
appreciate it.
No doubt at all.
The first
If
time,
y'all need me, I'm here.
I appreciate it. The first time Miss Kincaid came on the show, after the show, and that's when I was doing the show during the day. After the show, I started receiving all type of messages. Hey, how does she deal with? Someone asked the question: do she deal with medication to treat to do counseling or something? They asked, how do she do it? Is it medical or? And I sent her the text, forward the message to her. She said, no, I don't do medicine. I don't do medicine. I use a process that will help a person. And I think that day I sent her a couple of messages people was asking. So is this works? This work?
If you let it.
Exactly. You have to be open.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be open
And
to
a
it.
lot of people are ashamed, in counseling. I always try to say, we're not here. Well, most counselors should not like that. We not there to judge, And unfortunately, there are some that, this is not their passion. This is not what, this is not their gift. And they just get into it, not really realizing the impact that they have, on people. And we guide our clients do the work. But you got to be willing to do the work. And even in grief, you got to do the work. You sit still, the grief that stays is sit still. You got to do things that, and everybody's journey is different. Like I said, one may journal and may work. Another person, I don't like to write, so, you got to do other things, in order to help you along that journey, so you got to know yourself. You got to be open to realizing that you got to develop a new normal. With your mom going, y'all have to develop a new normal.
Yes.
That new normal without your mom, and that's hard to think about, that I gotta, my life without my mom. And right now, like I said, y'all on adrenaline. When things settle after that service, things will start settling, and you'll start really seeing, that okay, I can't pick up that phone, or I may even pick up the phone, and call her. But
Yeah.
that my morning ritual, that's what, it's not there anymore.
Exactly. The other day, and I actually kind of experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
I went thinking that was actually yesterday morning when I
Okay.
couldn't sleep. So yesterday morning while I'm cooking, and I was doing some 30 weight, and for the ones don't know, some homemade gravy. So
I'm from the
so
north. I was like, what?
so I was doing some homemade gravy. Now the thing is, I've tried gravy in the past. It just didn't work out.
Right.
But I done cooked gravy the last 2 weeks, and it been good.
Okay. All right.
So I'm like, okay, all these years I would go buy that package that gravy two for $1 and mix it up like that because when I tried gravy in the past, it was
Oh
just
Lord.
too lumpy. It was lumpy.
Okay.
And I'm like,
You ain't do it right.
exactly. After
Uh,
all these years of going, and my mom would try to walk me through it. And last week was the first time I did it.
oh wow.
And
Okay.
it was good.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, I'm mess around and come to Gravy King.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
so it was good. It turned out good. And yesterday when I got ready to do it, I picked up the phone to call my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I had him put a number in, was getting ready to push send. And I said, man, I said, wow.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that's the thing somewhat I have to hold on to the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And praise God that you have those kind of memories, because as I said, everybody didn't, there's somebody that's listening or going to listen that they didn't have a good relationship with the person that passed away,
Yep.
and so the pain of that, that person is gone now and I can't do anything about it or never was able to reconcile or whatever it is. That's another type of pain that you have to go through. That's even more intensified grief because I wasn't able to. We always assume that people had good relationships, but that everybody doesn't
Yeah.
have a good relationship, so praise be to God that, I can have those great memories, but everybody unfortunately doesn't have it. And sometimes when people die tragically, people have regrets. But one thing about grief and regrets, there's nothing that you can do about things that didn't get resolved. So you have to forgive yourself or that other person and move on, because if that person's passed, there's nothing you can do to change it. There's nothing. So a lot of times people have regrets. I wish I'd did this. I wish I'd did that. I wish this. I wish that. You can't do anything about it. You have to move on because that will keep you stuck. Those regrets will keep you in a place that you're not moving left, right, north, south. You're not moving, and you're gonna have to yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, exactly. So to take
If it
out
was
talking
a
about
50 boy
no,
baby.
it brought back memories. Yeah,
I ain't never
uh,
heard that.
I never heard of them, but one of my uncles, before he passed, this was many years ago, probably over 20 years ago. Before he passed, he came uh, out to my apartment, and he came out there to play dominoes. I went and picked him up. We played dominoes, and I said, "Unc, you want a drink?" He said, I said, I had some gin, that sickening gin, the bumpy face, what they used to call it. He said, oh no, that gin would make you sin. I said,
Now that
Lord.
I heard. I
I
heard
said,
Jen to make
Lord.
you see it. Yeah, I've heard
So,
that one. Jen to
but
make you see it. I've
I,
heard that, but I ain't never heard about no fear.
I really, I've lost a lot of loved ones over the years.
Me too.
And from time to time, I have flashbacks. Even yesterday when I was getting ready to call my mom, because I was calling her because that gravy didn't look right. I was literally finna throw that gravy out. And when I picked up the phone to call, I said, oh, I can't call her. Then all of a sudden it felt like I heard her voice. Keep staring.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Keep staring.
Use that whisk. If you got a whisk, use that whisk.
You gotta use that whisk. Just
Uh-huh.
keep doing it.
I
Keep
know how to
doing it.
cook. I don't cook, but I know how to cook.
And I kept doing it, and I'm telling my wife, I said, baby, I don't know about this gravy. But then when it got right, you got to keep stirring it, keep adding a
You
little
keep
bit of
stirring.
water, add a little bit of water, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is good. So I end up pouring
Season
it
it
over,
up.
exactly, poured it over the chicken, let the wings he smother off in them for a while. I said, Lord, that was good. I just forgot to cook the cornbread. I was like, okay, the cornbread in the cast iron skillet.
Okay.
So, but
Okay.
it's
Yeah, I was
amazing.
doing it up.
Yeah, it's amazing. I finally cooked some good gravy last week.
Right. Right.
Last week,
Right.
and I
That was
said,
your mom guiding your hand.
exactly. All these years, she tried
Mhm.
to tell me how to do it, and I never could get it. But last week I got it. Yesterday I got it. And I said,
Okay.
I'm doing
Okay.
good because
Okay.
I did it different. I did it different because I seen, like before I did it last week, I seen you could use chicken broth for it.
Okay.
So since I bake the chicken wings yesterday. I said, you know what? I'm just try the juice in here instead of using grease in here.
That's what you use it. Yeah, that's what you use.
And I used the juice, and I'm thinking I messed up. But when I picked up
Mm-hmm.
at home and I was getting ready to pour it
Drippings.
out, they said, just keep going, keep going.
Mhm.
It'll come out. Add a little
Mhm.
bit of water in it. Add my pepper, a little bit of salt in it. I said, Lord, okay. But I appreciate you, Miss Kincaid. I'm sure a
No,
lot of people do appreciate
no
what you're
problem.
doing.
Anytime, anytime. I love coming to hang with you.
I appreciate it. And I didn't get a chance to put it in my thing for I can be able to put it up. But if you don't mind, let people know how they can get in contact with you. And first, uh, let them know how they can get in contact with you, and also let them know about the good things that Cornerstone Baptist Church is doing about the grief program, and how they could be a part of that and receive help.
Yeah. Cornerstone does Grief Share. We do it Sundays at 12 p.m. every Sunday. Each lesson is a 13-week course, but each lesson stands on its own. This coming week, we'll be on our fourth week, and I think it's the Journey of Grief Part 2. We did Part 1 last week. You can, to sign up for Grief Share, you can go to griefshare.org and look for Cornerstone Baptist Church in Arlington and sign up with, to be with our group. You're going to see a whole bunch of groups, but that's my particular group that I'm one of the facilitators of. Or you can give me a call at 214-668-7051, and I'll be able to give you some additional information. We would love for you to come. If you're grieving, it's a great group. Like I said, we look at a video for about 35 to 40 minutes, and then we have a group discussion, and it's a way to release. It's one mechanism you can use in order to deal with your grief. We would love to have you.
Okay. And what was the number again?
It was 214-668-7051.
Okay. I'm trying to put it in here. Normally I have everything already set up. Only thing I got to do is put it up on the string.
That's okay.
But it's been a struggle. I may not get everything done the way I want it, but it's
It's okay. It's okay. And allow yourself to, allow yourself to have those it's okay moment. I don't have, everything doesn't have to be done. Everything doesn't, get it to do list. If you don't do everything, yeah, because your mind is, not working straight.
okay. And also, I know you let us know every time, but let people know what type of insurance you receive, you accept.
Okay. I take several EAPs. I have Magellan EAP. I do Blue Cross Blue Shield. I do Cigna, United Healthcare. I do some Aetna when they allow me to. Aetna's for some reason don't want us on their insurance panel. So yeah, those are some of the insurance, but I do a lot of EAPs. A lot of people use their employee assistance programs at their jobs, and most jobs, especially during COVID, they have really been offering those. Because a lot of people are having, a lot of people love staying home, but a lot of people don't. And they're struggling people are struggling working from home, and COVID has allowed us time to sit still. And when you're sitting still, a lot of times the things that you try to avoid by being busy, you can't avoid them anymore. So that's another reason why a lot of people are starting to come to counseling. I think that sitting still has caused them to realize that there's some things I need to really, really work on. And I would love to assist you in working on those issues.
Exactly. So uh, I say it all the time on the show. If you are working, you can actually get counseling for free.
Mm-hmm.
Go to your HR, ask them about the EAP program,
Mm-hmm.
Employee Assistance EAP, Employee Assistance Program.
Mhm.
Ask them about it, and you can get counseling for free, not just for you, for your spouse, your kids. It's right there. Help
Yeah.
is available.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it. Take
And do
advantage of it.
and do self-care. You know, a lot of people, I don't have time, I got this and that. Take care of yourself, because you'll be better for your family, you know, and your children will resolve some of the issues that a lot of parents are not hearing. And that's a big issue that's going on now. Kids are giving up on their parents. They really are. I'm seeing more adolescents than I've ever seen before. And most of them is their parents are not paying attention and not listening to them. And these kids now are a lot more verbal than they know how to express their emotions a lot more than we ever even thought about growing up. But a
Exactly.
lot of parents are not paying attention to them.
And it's important because right now, and we discussed this on the call the other night, and kids are hurting right now. I have a lot of educators in the family,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about some of the kids they deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And kids are hurting. They're asking for help, but you got to realize when they act out, they really looking for help.
Yeah. And once again, it goes back to that learned behavior. So many times parents go, you know, this is what you're going to do in my house. And they're modeling from what their parents said, but it's not fitting for your kids. You know, it's not the remedy for what's going on with your kids, because they're experiencing, you know, all kind of different situations, even not even being at school, just being home, not socializing. It takes a big impact. And so they're isolating in their room. And many parents are not concerned about that. You know, what are their children doing in that room? You know, are they depressed? Kids are telling their parents they're depressed, and they're telling them to pray. And prayer is a part of it, but sometimes we need additional help, you know. And so a lot of kids, they shut down. When a lot of times I ask, can, you know, let's bring your parent in, you know, let's talk together, and they're like, no, because they have tried so hard themselves to try to communicate with their parents, and their parents is not listening. So I'm begging the kids, you know, let's, you know, come to a neutral spot. It's really hard, you know, my heart cries out for them. It really does. The things that I'm hearing in my office, they really need parents to pay attention and listen to them. And giving them things is not the solution.
Exactly. And man, another thing, you definitely want to pay attention to your kids.
Hmm.
And we we normally say this on every show, and we kind of hit on it, and we're not going to be long on it. But what people have to realize, what you've gone through as a child can affect the way that you live in today.
Oh yeah.
Because if you used to getting yelled at all the time, getting beat, it passes down. You would
Being
do the
ignored.
same. Exactly. You would do the same to your kids. So
But
we
guess what?
have
Their parents that's been done to them as well.
exactly.
It's a
So
cycle.
it's a cycle that we need to
We
break.
got to break, but you got to realize it. And when your kids are talking, pay attention. Your child is quiet, don't really want to do anything with you. Pay attention to that.
Yeah,
There's something wrong. That silence is screaming help for help. It's a cry for help. And you're thinking they're just being a typical teenager. Some part of it may be, but another part of it, no, they're screaming out for help. And they keep on saying they're not listening to me, and they don't want to talk anymore. They just ready to get out the house. They're counting down, you know, when I can leave. That I'll be leaving in a year. I'll be leaving in 5 years sometime. You know, I'm ready just to endure this for 5 years.
I'm done. I'm ready to be on my own. I don't
Hmm.
want to
Yeah.
answer to no one. Or what happened when that child get out the house, they leave, they move, and they lose contact with their family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Miss Kincaid, I really do appreciate you.
Thank you, Curtis, as always.
If you're in Texas and looking for a great counselor, reach out to Miss Kincaid, and she would let you know if she can help you. If she can't, she would
I'll find you somebody.
find you somebody that can.
Mm-hmm.
And so definitely take advantage of this. And if you are working, check with your HR. Ask them for the EAP program.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them may say, "Oh no, we don't have that." Say, "Hey, I'm sure we do. Could you check and see?"
Most insurance have, if they have insurance, they have it.
Yeah. So definitely check and see. Um, it's always a good time whenever I have Miss Kincaid on here. I have
Thank
to
you,
be
Curtis.
mindful of her time. I appreciate this.
No problem.
I
I
appreciate it.
appreciate you. And like I said, I'm praying for you and your family
I appreciate it. I actually
continuously.
seen a lot of family members show up on social media today.
Good.
I appreciate y'all and for the support. Share this video because you never know who might see this video that need to hear some of the things we discussed tonight.
Yeah.
And as always, I appreciate y'all, Miss Kincaid. I appreciate you for everything
Thank
that
you,
you do
Curtis.
for me, and your continuous prayers for my family. And like I tell my family all the time, we're gonna get through this.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
tough right now.
It's
It's
going, it
tough,
ain't gonna be easy.
but because of the mores that we was built on, the the prayers that went out even before we was conceived, that was for us. We're gonna get through it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get through it. We will make it through. And
Say
until
God give you comfort, strength, and peace that only He can give.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely appreciate it. Until tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time, with Miss Risky tomorrow night. I love each and every one of you. Until then, peace.
God bless.